In the last video itself, we had completed the chapter atomic structure. There's nothing more in this chapter which is within your syllabus, but I thought that maybe I should share something which is a bit advanced at your level, but which will help you in understanding the electronic configuration even better. Remember, I am saying this right at the beginning of the video that whatever I am going to do in this particular video, that is not in your present syllabus, and even if you don't watch this video or if you do not understand what is being said, there is no fault in that. But in case you want to know the electronic configuration in greater detail, for that purpose I am sharing this. So advanced. So this is an advanced idea. Now what are we going to discuss here? So in the up to the last video we talked about shells. We said that there are many shells like the K shell, M shell, M, N, and so on, the different shells. Now, these shells are represented by an alphabet small n. The shells are represented by something like n. The n gives the number. N has values ranging from 1, 2, 3, and so on. So for K shell, n value has 1. For L shell, n has value 2. For M shell, n has value 3. This n is a particular quantum number. This one is known as the principal quantum number. Now what's quantum number? What's principal quantum number? You need not know it. These shells can be further subdivided into subshells. Shells further subdivided into subshells. Now, how many subshells can be there? Subshells are denoted by something which is L. L is the alphabet to denote the subshell, and L will take values from 0 to n minus 1. Subshells has a value L which ranges from 0 to n minus 1. Each shell has got certain subshell. So if I am talking about the K shell has value n equal to 1. So L will take values from 0 to n minus 1, that is 1 minus 1, that is 0. 0 to 0 means L is also equal to 0. So the shell K has got only one subshell, 1. If you go to the L shell has a n value 2, second shell n2. So L will take values from 0 to n minus 1, that's 2 minus 1, so on. So L has value 0 and 1. So the L shell has got 2 subshells. Similarly, you can check for M, N and so on. In short, every shell will have that many number of subshells which is the value of its n. So if the first, the shell is number 1, that's the first shell has got 1 subshell. Second shell has got 2 subshells. Third shell has got 3 subshells, and so on. And the subshells are denoted by these letters, like if it is the first subshell, it is denoted by the letter small s. If it is the second subshell, it is denoted by the letter small p. Third subshell by D. The fourth subshell by F, and so on. These are the nomenclature. The subshells here can be further classified into something known as the orbitals. Orbitals are very different from orbits. These two are different things, okay? Now orbitals are denoted by the alphabet M, and it takes value from minus L to plus L. Now let us again take the example of the K shell and N shell. So if I have the K shell, we already found out it has an n value 1 and the N has a value 0. What will be the value of M then? It's minus L to plus L. That is minus 0 to plus 0. Minus 0 and plus 0, they are the same, they are 0. So M is also equal to 0. For the L shell, N is 2 and L has value 0 and 1. For 0, M is also 0, minus L to plus L, minus 0 to plus 0. And for L equal to 1, M will take values from minus 1 to plus 1. So that is minus 1, 0, plus 1. That means further, for every subshell, how many orbitals are there, we can find that out by using this formula, minus L to plus L. So what did we know in short? In short, we came to know that shells can be further subdivided into subshells, which can be further subdivided into orbitals. And here there's a rule. Every orbital can accommodate 2 electrons at maximum. Every orbital can have 2 electrons maximum. Now if you use this formula, surprisingly you will see that K shell has got 1 orbital, L shell has got 4 orbitals, M shell has got 9 orbitals, and therefore when you use that formula of 2n squared, you are getting the number of electrons to be something like this, 2, 8, 18. Multiply them by 2, because I said every orbital can take 2 electrons. 1 into 2 is 2, 4 into 2 is 8, 9 into 2 is 18. So our formula of 2n squared agrees with this, what we did just now. Now let us look at the electronic configuration. Let us look at the electronic configuration of calcium. 40, 20 calcium. What will be the electronic configuration? First of all, it has got 20 neutrons, 20 protons and 20 electrons. So the 20 electrons, how will it be divided? 2, 8, that makes it 10. Then again 8, 2. So let us draw it. We have calcium nucleus here having 20 protons and 20 neutrons. We need 4 shells. The first one is our K shell. K shell will have 2 electrons. This one is our L shell. L will have 8 electrons. Next is our M shell. Again 8 electrons. Finally we have the N shell, which will have 2 electrons. Add the number of electrons, makes it 20. Now here I have a question for you. You know that the number of electrons a particular shell can accommodate is given by this formula 2n squared. Then for the third shell, that is the M shell, it is 2 into 3 square, that is 2 into 9, which is 18. So the third shell, as per our formula, as per our theory, can accommodate 18 electrons. Then why did we not put all these 10 electrons into the M shell? Why did we take 2 more to the last one? For understanding this, all that I had been discussing now, you need to know that. There is a certain manner to write the electronic configuration. So whatever you were writing like this, okay, so first let me write it like this. The electronic configuration for calcium having 20 electrons can be written as 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py2, 2pz2, 3s2, 2px2, 3py2, z2, 4s2. So this 2 on the top represents number of electrons. This is our K shell, 1 orbital only. This entire thing is our L shell. How many orbitals did L shell have? 4 orbitals. 1, 2, 3, 4. This thing is our M shell. And this is our N shell. As you can see, each orbital has got 2 electrons at max. But the story of M shell doesn't end there. Actually, there are more energy levels than what you see here. There's 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. And how does the energy changes? 1s has the lowest energy, followed by 2s, then 2p, then 3s, then 3p, then 4s, then 3d. So if you look at this diagram, as the arrow advances, the energy increases. So 1s has got the lowest energy, then the arrow touches 2s. So 1s has the lowest energy, followed by 2s, then the arrow touches 2p, then it comes back and touches 3s, then it comes back and touches 3p, then it touches 4s before it does or touch 3d. This particular subshell D has the ability, it has to accommodate 10 electrons alone. It has got the ability, but because 4s is energetically lower than 3d, the 2 electrons will first go to 4s, and only if 4s is filled, then they will move to 3d. That is the reason, even while there was space in the M shell, the 2 electrons of calcium went to the N shell. But if I give you another example, say of zinc, look how this changes. So zinc has the atomic number 30. So it means there are number of electrons equal to 30. How are they arranged? 2, 8, that makes it 10, 18, 2. That's the electronic configuration of zinc. K shell, L shell, M shell, N shell. So there are indeed 18 electrons. Since atomic number 20 and above is not in your syllabus, you don't get to see this. But if I write it down, how it will look? 1s2, 1 stands for the K shell and S stands for the only orbital it has got, and 2 is the number of electrons it can take. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 2 stands for second cell, S and P are the orbitals, and 2 and 6, 8 electrons that it has taken. 3s2, 3p6, 3d10. Entire thing is the M shell. 3 stands for M, S, P, D are the 3 orbitals that M has got, and these are the number of electrons it can take. S has got 1 orbital, so 2 electrons. P has 3 orbitals, so 6 electrons. D has 5 orbitals, so 10 electrons. That makes it 28. The final 2 go to 4s. Even N shell has got other orbitals like 4p and 4d, but these are empty. Electron does not need to go there because there is not any more electron, so it ends at 4s. So this is how the electronic configuration is decided. So that is one of the reasons why it is so clearly stated in your book that the valence electron cannot have more than 8 electrons. The reason behind this is this one, because the moment you cause 3p, the next electrons go to 4s first, then it comes to 3d, because energetically 4s is lower. And this rules that the valence shell cannot have more than 8 electrons or so, they have got certain limitations. One of that being, as you can see, atomic number less than 20, which is given in your book. For higher atomic numbers, we may even have valence shells more than that electrons. It's highly possible.